I'm Assistant Sheriff Chris Darcy, and I'm here today to brief you on some additional details as we know them about the officer-involved shooting that occurred on Tuesday, February 9th, 2021. So, before I start, I just want to take a moment to talk about this call and the fact that it was a domestic violence call. And we know that these domestic violence calls can often be very, very dangerous. It's a dangerous situation for the victims, and it's a dangerous situation for our officers that are involved in them. And in this case, we're very fortunate. We're fortunate that the victim took some steps to protect herself. And we're very fortunate that the victim survived in this case. So as we go forward, I'm going to explain the details of the call, and then you'll be able to see the body-worn camera video at the conclusion of my remarks. So this is OAS number 2 for 2021, non-fatal number 1. At the same time last year, we had OAS number 2, non-fatal number 2. The date and time and type of call was February 9th, 2021 at 09:51 a.m. and it was a family disturbance and domestic violence, as I previously stated. The location of this OAS was the 800 block of East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89183, which is in our Enterprise Area Command. You can see the scene to my left on the map. We have two involved officers. The first involved officer is Officer Jody Cunningham. He is 46 years old and has been with the LVMPD since 2018. In this incident, Officer Cunningham was armed with a Glock handgun, Model 17, 9mm, equipped with a tactical light. The investigation revealed he fired 3 rounds during this incident. The second officer is Officer Manny Papazian. He is 39 years old and has been with the LVMPD since 2014. In this incident, Officer Papazian was armed with a Smith & Wesson MP15 .223 caliber rifle equipped with an aim point optic. And this investigation revealed he fired 5 rounds during the incident. The suspect has been identified as a DeMarco Montez Henderson. He is a 39-year-old black male adult, 6 foot tall, weighing approximately 225 pounds. He's also pictured off to my left with the photo on the screen. The suspect's weapon is identified as a Smith & Wesson SD 9mm handgun, and the investigation has revealed he fired at least 7 rounds during this incident. Photo on the screen as well. Mr. Henderson's charges, if he had survived, would be attempt murder, kidnapping, coercion, and prohibited person in possession of a firearm. Now I'll go through some of the details of the officer-involved shooting. On Tuesday, February 9th, 2021, at approximately 9:51 a.m., the LVMPD Dispatch Center received information of a family disturbance at an apartment located in the 800 block of Silverado Ranch Boulevard. Officers met the person reporting at a nearby business to gather more information. Officers were told by the caller that her mother had recently been battered by her stepdad, who was later identified as DeMarco Montez Henderson. She went on to say that Mr. Henderson was armed with a handgun and had made threats to kill her mother, who was still inside the apartment with him. With this information, the officers developed a plan to get the mother out of the apartment by calling her on her cell phone. Before the call was made, officers established a perimeter around the department to ensure the mother was escorted out of the area unharmed. Phone contact was made with the mother, and she agreed to come out. As she was walking down the exterior stairs to the ground level, as this was a second-story apartment, Mr. Henderson stepped outside of the apartment and fired 1 round at his wife. Officer Cunningham observed the incident and fired several times toward Mr. Henderson. A group of officers quickly rushed over to Mr. Henderson's wife and successfully escorted her out of harm's way. She was not injured during the gunfire. Mr. Henderson then went back inside the apartment, and the situation was then treated as a barricade situation. In order to slow the momentum and de-escalate the situation, the Special Weapons and Tactics SWAT team was notified, along with the crisis negotiation team were notified to respond to the scene. While the perimeter officers were waiting for SWAT to arrive, they heard several more shots being fired from Mr. Henderson's apartment. After the shots were heard, Officer Papazian observed Mr. Henderson crouching down by one of the windows in the apartment and observed that he appeared to be pointing a firearm at the officers. Seeing this, Officer Papazian fired his rifle towards Mr. Henderson's position. A few minutes after Officer Papazian fired his shots, smoke was seen coming from Mr. Henderson's apartment, and it is believed that Mr. Henderson started a small fire. SWAT officers and our crisis negotiators then arrived on scene and attempted to contact Mr. Henderson for several hours without any success. Eventually, SWAT officers along with firefighters made entry into Mr. Henderson's apartment. Mr. Henderson was located on the floor of the bathroom, which was attached to the master bedroom, suffering from an apparent gunshot wound that appeared to be self-inflicted. Mr. Henderson was pronounced deceased on the scene by medical personnel, and this investigation has revealed that Mr. Henderson was not struck by any of the bullets fired by our officers. At this time, I will now show you the body-worn camera footage of this incident. The apartment is over right in that area as you watch through it. And we'll show it in slow motion so that you can see.
She's right here. She's out again. She's out here again.
You'll notice that the victim comes out of the apartment and heads down the stairs. And you'll see the suspect come
Push. Go get her! Go get her! Go get her!
At this point, the officers are pushing towards the female to try to rescue her.
Go!
Because he's in the apartment armed with a firearm.
She went around the back. Hey, we got the garage door behind us. I'll get the block.
The officers have a shield.
Push up!
And they don't know where.
Go high. Watch the windows.
He could be at any one of those windows, so they're
Run.
They're risking their own safety to grab her.
Go. I got it.
And
that's.
Get over here! Push back.
Push him back.
Let's go. Follow me. Get over. Come here.
they then move back with her to a position of safety where they can secure her from any future gunfire. And you're going to see it slower now, where you'll see her come out and you'll see him exit the apartment, and you'll see him holding the gun in his hand when he fires that first shot at her. And that shot, and she's very lucky, struck the railing by the stairs where she was exiting.
She's right here. She's out again. She's out here again. Shit.
You're going to see this is the second volley of fire that occurred about 20 minutes later.
Let's get to this pillar.
Yep, that's good for me. I'm gonna back up so I can see still.
Air unit, can you see through that window on the right of that door up top? Where'd that come from?
It's coming from there.
He's outside fire.
Yep,
If he looks out the window, do we?
it's fine. He's got a long gun.
Stab one. Shots fired. It looked like he was pointing a rifle through the window. I fired through the window.
Hey, keep going. Hey, I'll take his shield. I got.
I know it's sometimes hard to see with body-worn cameras. Sometimes the distance makes it difficult, but as you can see, and obviously we'll provide the body-worn camera footage, when you look at it and focus in on it, you can clearly see the image of the suspect coming out and pointing the firearm at the officers and the subsequent actions. So this concludes the briefing. Unless anybody has any questions, I can entertain a few questions.
You said she had
Denise?
taken some steps to make herself safe. Was that just her daughter calling 911, or did she try to get help?
Yes, yes. She actually was able to pass a note to say, essentially, help me, I'm in fear. And so that's why she subsequently called, and we were able to respond and develop a plan to try to get her out of there so she wouldn't be held inside there and at further risk.
She passed a note to her daughter?
Yes.
Had you guys been up there before with them, with domestic violence or anything?
Not at that, we haven't been to that residence before. No.
A different residence?
With them is what I'm trying to clarify, yeah. I mean, we could have been to the residence before, but not reference these two individuals, no. Yeah.
So can
So-
you just tell us just a little bit just about how dangerous this was? Because he was above you. And
Yes.
he's shooting down and
Yes.
you have a
Yes.
civilian in there.
Yeah, it was quite a dangerous situation, and our officers acted without regard to their own safety in that sense, right? They saw him fire the shot at her, not knowing. I mean, you really don't know what kind of gun he has, how many guns he has, is there more than one person, right? You don't generally know. So they're acting on the information that they have at the time. They hear the shot, they see that she left, they knew they had to get her, they had this plan, they were planned. We do a lot of pre-planning before events. That's one thing we've learned in order to reduce officer-involved shootings. Our officers are talking about it before they get there. They have a plan, they have the tools, they have a shield, they have different options that are available to them before we resort to using deadly force. So in this case, they had those types of conversations, they had the shield, they had a supervisor on scene that was leading the plan, and when she came out, they acted on it. And that's what we have to do, right? That's what we have to do to protect the community and to keep everybody safe. So they did it, they moved with the shield, they were able to locate her. Obviously, she was in great distress, and so they took her behind the shield and moved her to a position of safety. And then we're able to slow things down because we know now it's a barricade. He's in there by himself. He does have the high ground, he has that positional advantage over us, but we slow it down and we de-escalate as best we can. And when he has his actions where he would come to a window, if he would have fired more shots, then we would evaluate and respond accordingly with our training and tactics.
Do you think that first shot he was trying to shoot her?
Yes. Yeah, in fact, the bullet impacted the railing right near her, so she's lucky to be alive, in my opinion. So we're very fortunate in this case. Yes, sir.
What were kind of the events that led to this thing that became, something that you were intervening in? You say she was assaulted a couple of days before that. Were there days and days on end when she wasn't allowed to leave the apartment? What kind of things is she telling you about that situation now?
This is an ongoing investigation. I can't really, I mean, we're not there yet, right? This is within 72 hours. We're looking at the use of force, and the investigation will go on, and we'll certainly look back into the relationship that they had and the things that may have happened before. I mean, at this point, the suspect's deceased, so we wouldn't be charging him for that. But we'll go back and we'll do a deep dive into all that, because obviously we can learn from it and then help future victims with whatever we learn.
Safe to say the smoke that came out of the apartment complex, that was the fire that was set, you believe, by the suspect?
Yes, we believe the suspect set a small fire in there that subsequently ended up, catching on fire. But yes, he set that.
But they were married.
Yes, yes.
Where in the apartment did he set the fire?
I'm sorry?
Where in the apartment did he set the fire?
Well, we had the arson investigators in the fire department there. They'll look at it and determine the point of origin. In looking at the scene, it was burned, obviously, throughout, and we put a significant amount, the fire department put a significant amount of water on it, so they'll be able to determine exactly where it was inside of that apartment. I couldn't really comment to that right now.
There was a really massive police response on that particular day. Like, all of Silverado Ranch Road was pretty much looked like a parking lot with all the various agencies and officers
Right.
Involved in the barricade situation. Can you just kind of explain, because a lot of us are talking, it was probably one of the largest responses we've seen in quite a while
Right.
for a situation like this.
Yeah, I can tell you that we had officers from other agencies, the school police, because there was a school adjacent, so they responded. They had a contingency of officers, plus our patrol officers, plus our SWAT team, plus our crisis negotiators, and everything that comes along with that to try to resolve these instances. I mean, there is a significant amount of people out there, all really working towards a peaceful conclusion to this event. Okay, have a great day. Appreciate it. Thank you.